This is Love Your Work. On this show, we help you make it as a creative, find your unique voice, find the right mindset to succeed, be the first to capitalize on new opportunities to make a living making your art. I am David Kadavy. If you want to join us here on Love Your Work every Thursday, just hit subscribe on your podcast app, and that will deliver it right to your device. And if you want the very best of Love Your Work, if you want the gems that I have discovered in my thousands of hours of research into history's greatest creators, all in a short weekly email, sign up for my Love Mondays newsletter. That's at kadavy.net/Mondays. That's kadavy.net/Mondays. If you want to be a master of your craft, you need to be able to see your skills and your accomplishments objectively. You need to always be on the lookout for ways that you might fool yourself, for ways that you might not see your skills and your accomplishments objectively, for ways that you might cause yourself to feel as if you have accomplished something when in fact you have accomplished nothing. Because when that happens, eventually it becomes too late. You have accomplished nothing, and all the while you have felt as if you have accomplished something. Now, one of the ways that your vision of the truth can get distorted is if you identify too strongly with the place you live, the city in which you live, if you love your city too much. I know that sounds strange, but I will explain in this week's episode. But for now, some shout outs. Thank you so much to everybody who shares my work with their friends and their followers. Thank you to Martin Wiegert of the Meshed Society weekly newsletter. Martin shared a Medium article of mine about operating in a mind management world instead of a time management world. Maybe that article will make it on the podcast one of these days. Anyway, that is in issue 213 of Martin's newsletter at meshedsociety.com. And on Twitter, thank you to Live Life Creatively at LivC2012. She says, I've known of your podcast for a year now, and it never ceases to amaze me. You are so giving of your knowledge and wisdom. Your guests have also taught me so much. I can also relate to your frustration around getting started and have recently purchased all your books, including The Heart to Start. Even though I have started writing that novel, I need more support while I work my full-time job and raise a family. From time management to creative flow, I have found my love for the process itself, and you were a big part of my journey. Thank you. Wow. I mean, you can imagine that was more than one tweet, but I really appreciate those words. And I'm so glad that the things that I'm doing on this show are helping you in making your creative dreams real. Next up, Rise Morgan at Rise B Morgan says, love at This Is Seth's blog with at Kadavy, and shares the recent Seth Godin episode, Who Is It For?, which is an instant favorite for a lot of people. I've gotten a lot of great feedback on that episode, so thank you everybody for listening and for letting me know what you thought of it. And Wes_Mister says, at Kadavy, compliments on your recent email newsletter. I've followed my curiosity and amassed 3 seemingly unrelated degrees. Now at 41, I'm starting to see a unity to it all. It's meaningful to me to read your words as they reflect my experience. So hat tip to you. Thanks. And what Wes_Mister is referring to is a recent Love Mondays newsletter where I talk about curiosity and how it can look really messy at first, but sometimes things converge and eventually it looks like you had this incredible plan figured out. Next up on Instagram, Alice S. Walsh shared a quote from The Heart to Start on Instagram stories and says, I love at Kadavy's work. His podcast, Love Your Work, has inspired me so many times. And MaxAm1 made a really cool illustration using a quote from The Heart to Start and says, enjoying #The Heart to Start. Go check out that illustration at MaxAm1's profile on Instagram. Okay, here is the episode. You really want to achieve your dreams? Stop loving your city. I used to love my city. After growing up in Nebraska, living in San Francisco was surreal. I felt like a character in a movie to be so lucky as to live there. But I eventually realized the danger of loving my city. Loving my city was holding me back. The same phenomenon I was suffering from, I later observed in other cities. It was that loving your city can make you delusional. The phenomenon is called basking in reflected glory, and it's what makes loving your city dangerous. When you bask in reflected glory, otherwise known as burging, the accomplishments of others make you feel as if you yourself have accomplished something. I noticed something one day as I was proclaiming how happy I was to be living in the greatest city in the world. It was that a large portion of that feeling was coming from pride for what other people were doing in that city. And when I searched my own accomplishments for the source of that pride, I found nothing. The dangerous thing was that false sense of accomplishment was making me complacent. I didn't want to go through life fooling myself into thinking I had done something when I was only feeling pride for something other people had done. I didn't want a sense of accomplishment to come easily. I wanted to earn it. If you live in a quote-unquote great city, look around and you'll find it. People who love their cities so much that they've lost all sense of who they themselves are. It makes them hang on to empty dreams. The Silicon Valley entrepreneur who pursues idea after idea that has no hope of ever being useful. The LA actor who will clearly never make it. The NYC artist who spends the entire day freelancing for giant corporations instead of painting just to make the rent. These dreams all have value, but the burging has disconnected each of these people from the only thing that will ever bring them the satisfied sense of success they crave. The only way they'll get that is if they stop getting validation from merely having their body in some particular location and they start searching themselves for that thing that makes each of them unique. So how do you love your city without burging? For some people, merely being aware of the problem is enough. Whenever you find yourself too prideful for something someone else accomplished, you can remind yourself with a personal mantra. Don't bask in the accomplishments of others. For other people, the problem calls for more serious action. Me, I left San Francisco. I lived in a bunch of other places, and I saw and experienced myself enough burging to spot it and smother it at its source. By leaving the city that made me falsely feel accomplished, I was forced to find satisfaction through my own accomplishments. I've since published several books, and as the name of my podcast implies, I love my work. I never would have found my way if I had allowed my love for a city to continue clouding my judgment. Go ahead and love your city, but the next time you feel that sense of pride welling up inside, stop yourself. Does that feeling come from satisfaction you would rather earn in some other way? If so, put your head down and get to work. Or pack your bags and run like hell. Is Love Your Work helping you find your unique creative voice? Does it bring you the inspiration and motivation you need to become the creator and human you want to be? If so, please be a part of making this a special and nourishing and thoughtful show. Support the show on Patreon. You'll be an even bigger part of this show than you already are. If you contribute just a coffee a month, you'll be helping support the hosting and production of Love Your Work. Everyone has some unique creative gift to offer the world. Together, we can give people the tools they need to bring that work into the world. The world will be better off for it. Visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/Kadavy. This is a different kind of model for supporting the work that you love. The choice is yours. Vote with your dollars, put your money where your mind is, and keep Love Your Work going. Visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/Kadavy. As a thank you, you'll get early access, bonus content, and a discount on Love Your Work merchandise. Learn more at patreon.com/Kadavy. That's patreon.com/KA, D as in David, A, V as in Victor, Y. And if you can't support the show financially, and you've listened to at least 3 episodes, can you do me a favor? Write a review on Apple Podcasts. You can consider it your donation to help support the show. Love Your Work is brought to you in part by our Patreon supporters, such as mini sponsors Roxana Maynard of Agility Alchemist at agilityalchemist.com and Paula Spriggs, and top supporters such as Jeffrey Mason and Vitas Pinkovicius. This has been Love Your Work, and I'm David Kadavy. The theme music for this show is At Sea by Dorena from the album About Everything and More by arrangement with Deep Elm Records at deepelm.com. Love Your Work is a production of Kadavy, Inc.